If you were around in the 80s, you might remember Eddie Antar. He was the king of household electronics. You see, Crazy Eddie had 43 Crazy Eddie stores across the New York metropolitan area, with profits peaking at $350 million in the mid-80s. But despite the fame and fortune, by 1989, Crazy Eddie would completely collapse. And Eddie himself would go from national fame to international felon. In the late 70s, the consumer electronics industry was booming, and Eddie Antar was just a 22-year-old high school dropout from Brooklyn when he opened his first electronics store. The brand became famous for its extremely low prices and over-the-top TV commercials, which usually starred this crazy radio DJ guy named Jerry Carroll.
Anything and everything goes! We are not undersold, we will not be undersold, we cannot be undersold, prices are insane!
See what I mean? But Eddie's most daring strategy wasn't his knack for marketing. It was actually skimming cash. Eddie and his family were literally putting cash under their cushions and under the radiators when they ran out of space. These people were lining their pockets with millions of dollars, avoiding taxes, and paying as many employees off the books as they could. But it was getting harder and harder to hide the family secret. So in 1984, Eddie took the company public. That way, Eddie and his family could hide their crimes by laundering their previously embezzled cash back into the company. And as an added bonus, the new influx of cash from shareholders made Crazy Eddie look like a rapidly growing company. And for a while, the price of stock soared to $79 a share. The family cashed in as much as $90 million. But their euphoria was short-lived. Between eventual profit loss, missing inventory, and irate unpaid vendors, public markets began to smell a rat. Suspicious investors decided to launch a hostile takeover of Crazy Eddie, and Eddie became the target of a new level of financial scrutiny that revealed what the New Yorker called a blizzard of fraud. To make matters even icier, Eddie's own father, who had once been a co-conspirator, lodged a complaint to the Securities and Exchange Commission, aka the government agency that looks out for investors. So, in true shady business guy fashion, Eddie took the cash and ran. He fled the US in 1990 armed with millions of dollars and jetted off to places like Zurich, Sao Paulo, and the Cayman Islands. 2 years later, Interpol and the US Marshals found him hiding outside of Tel Aviv and had him extradited back to the US. Unfortunately for Eddie, his cousin spilled all the dirty family secrets to the authorities in exchange for a lesser sentence for himself. Eddie was found guilty of 17 counts against him, including conspiracy, securities, and mail fraud, and after a brief appeal was sentenced to 8 years behind bars and fined millions of dollars. After his release in 1999, Eddie tried and failed to revive Crazy Eddie online. By then, the consumer electronics industry had changed, and Eddie himself faded into almost obscurity. As if Eddie couldn't dig his hole any deeper, before he died in 2016, he told CNN Money his only regret was not being a white-collar criminal today, where he thought he'd have an easier time evading prosecutors. If that story wasn't crazy enough for you, check out more Hustle original stories. Make sure to subscribe to this channel, and hey, if you want to know about the latest and greatest in business and tech, click the link below to sign up for our daily newsletter.